Here's the thing about protesting for a cause that you're passionate about. In order for it to be effective and for it to be a sympathetic cause for other people, there's a couple of things that you cannot do. You can't be a nuisance. You can't make your actions bigger than the cause that you're trying to promote. And it's also got to be sympathetic to a large amount of people. That's generally the path that you need to take forward. These Insulate Britain, Just Stop Oil, climate protesters, okay, that just appeals to a small subsection of a smaller subsection. Add that on to them desecrating timeless works of art. Who's actually going to support you at this point in time? So Just Stop Oil, one of their more recent outbursts involved going into a museum, which I always find, and especially with the uptick of violence that's been going on at these places over the past year or so, why the security isn't just watching for any freaks that come in, just shadowing them closely, just in case they take out a can of tomato soup, throw it at a priceless work, or now, in this case, showing up with hammers, smashing them against paintings, which I never really figured that out. Okay, you're destroying works of art that predate the 20th century in order to protest energy choices in the 21st century. Yeah, that never really connected for me, so it just kind of seems like a whole bunch of disparate ideas by a bunch of lost and messed up individuals. But Just Stop Oil protesters smash glass on painting at National Gallery. Just Stop Oil protesters have been arrested after smashing the glass covering Diego Velázquez painting at the National Gallery in London. I probably mispronounced that. Velázquez? Sure, that's probably closer. As police detained dozens of others who blocked Whitehall. Two activists charged with the targeted the glass on the Roqueberry Venus painting and the safety hammers. Oh, with safety hammers. Well, of course, you can't trust them with real hammers. Before they were arrested on suspicion of criminal damage. Suspicion of criminal damage. Obviously. The artwork, which was painted by Velázquez in 1600s. Oh, so this is like old shit. Was slashed by the suffragette Mary Richardson in 1914. Yeah, feminism has always been a terrorist ideology, so just to let you know. Women did not get the vote by voting. It is time for deeds, not words. Yes, exactly. That's something that I might do in the future, a full deep dive into how feminists, in order to advance their causes, have always resorted to violence, public disruption, and there really is no waves of feminism, but I'll continue. The Metropolitan Police said at least 40 activists who were slow marching in Whitehall were also detained, and that the road was clear after traffic was stopped for a brief period. And yeah, that's what I want to go ahead and show you. It's just, to refresh everybody's memory here. They're down there, attempting to destroy these works of art because obviously, they're behind glass or they're behind a protective case where you can still see it when you're at these museums viewing everything. So they're kind of lashing out. They're kind of like the kid who's drawing on the walls with crayon, or you can take it off. It's just more or less a nuisance. And especially the ones that, glue themselves to the frames. We got any pictures of that? No. But you guys know what I'm talking about, right? Throwing the soup, gluing themselves to anything, writing on the walls, Just Stop Oil. How does that help with something that's been up, hanging on a canvas for going on 500 years? I don't know if you're making the cause that relevant that you think you are, but when it's all said and done, the Met Police ended up arresting 44 Just Stop Oil activists. Charged following the disruption on Monday includes 2 people causing criminal damage at the National Gallery. We're removing officers from community to police these, yeah, blah, blah, blah. But 98 charges, 219 arrests since the 30th of October, and haven't put a dent in the organization because they're still out there going, oh yeah, just take a look. Oh, see, we're totally untouchable, including them marching down the street, which everybody sees on a consistent basis, being drugged, taking up valuable police time, and just completely mucking up the works for no real good reason. All just having a laugh about it on the regular, not taking any of this shit seriously. And, well, if you got all those lady cops, it's not like they have anything better to do anyways. But yeah, just them being fucking tantrum-throwing children. That's basically what we're seeing. And they all think that they're righteous about this, that they've got the upper hand on this, and well, you need a license in order to protest. And well, this is why you see this shit continue across the pond, because if it ever came stateside, you'd end up with something like this. And we all knew it was just simply a matter of time. American lawyer 77 arrested in Panama after gunman filmed shooting dead 2 eco-protesters blocking the highway. Graphic content, well, obviously I can't show you because YouTube is the big gay when it comes to this stuff, but an elderly elderly American has been arrested after a gunman was caught on camera walking up to environmental protesters blocking the Panamanian highway Tuesday, and then he just started blasting. Okay, disturbing footage showed the man with gray hair and glasses casually approaching the blockade, the Pan American Highway. They're blocking a highway. That is a misdemeanor. Okay, and then ultimately what he did, well, this is these points, okay, at this time would technically be a felony. I know, I'm just really hoping for jury nullification. But yes, waving his finger while arguing with the demonstrators. Oh, okay, well, if he can go ahead, he is 77 years old, okay? He did go up there, try to reason with them. If he thought that his life was in danger, I'm not trying to, offer any advice. He is a lawyer, so he obviously knows this stuff, or at least you'd think that he would, before, pulling out a gun and opening fire. Other footage showed people standing around bodies in the road in the Shame sector west of Panama City, as well as the gunman being cuffed and led to a squad car. Yeah, I did it and I'd do it again. Based. Police later showed a photo of the suspect handcuffed to the pipe, as well as he was identified as Kenneth Darlington. Oh, what a good soldier. 77, a lawyer and professor who holds dual citizenship in the United States and Panama, according to Newsroom Panama and Agence France Presse. Sure. One of the shot protesters died at the scene. Oh, shucks. That's terrible. Anyways, while the second was pronounced dead at a local hospital. Oh no, equally as upsetting. The violence came during the third week of protests over a large mining contract that allows Canada-based First Quantum Minerals. I wonder how much, Chinese ownership there is there. That's a big problem with Canadian miners. Anyways, not like that, huh? But no, the ones that dig into the ground. To operate the region's largest pit copper mine for at least 20 more years. Wow, enriching the Panamanian government. Okay, the roadblocks have caused up to $80 million in daily losses to businesses. Okay, I guess we know the price of a life in Panama. And have shuttered schools nationwide for more than a week. What the fuck? Yo, this is like super annoying. Okay, Panama President Lorenzo Quitorzi sent his condolences to the dead protesters. And he's like, well, finally the economy can get rolling again, saying that such a crime has no place in the nation's supportive society. Jury nullification, if that's a thing in Panama. The deadly shooting came after Panamanian media reported that the demonstrator was run over and killed last week by a foreign attempting to drive past a roadblock. Yeah, we've been seeing those happen with a little bit more frequency. And well, I don't know if it's appropriate to voice support, but anyways, the 19,000-mile Pan American Highway is the world's largest route, spanning from Alaska to Argentina, with a break at the Darien Gap. Yeah, fantastic. But if they're blocking such a major highway, wouldn't you think that there would be some sort of law against that? I'm just wondering, like, I don't know anything about the law in Panama, obviously. It's going to be a little bit different, but there's probably going to be some similarities with the United States and with Canadian law, things that I'm a little bit more familiar with. Like, if he can voice some kind of self-defense claim, there's something there. It's going to be a little bit tough to prove, but basically you're going to have to rely on other people finding themselves in a similar situation, realizing that he kind of did something for the betterment of Panama, hoping that that'll be some sort of justification behind that. You hope that you have similar types of prosecutors, like the one that you have for one of the most famous cases. And there was also some other videos circulating in on and around the time that I heard about this story breaking as well. There was a mother who was in court during the time that somebody who assaulted her child, trying to keep specifics out of this for monetization purposes so more people can see the video. That's the only reason that I care why I don't drop like a C-bomb or the rainbow F slur. It's just because whenever a video ends up getting demonetized, it just doesn't get spread as much. Like, that's verifiably true. But yes, a mom stood up in court one day, and for whatever reason, they didn't have a metal detector, but this was also way back in the cut as well. She stood up and put 7 in the abuser's chest when he was on stand, and I don't know what ended up happening with the charges against her. Everybody was just kind of like, well, the guy did abuse her kid, so does she have justification? Maybe. Or the guy walking through the airport. Okay, this is another very famous case, and you've probably seen the footage if you've been on social media for any second. It's always celebrated. The anniversary is always celebrated the certain time of the year where a father takes care of business after his accuser ends up getting acquitted in court. I think it was in a Texas airport or something like that. He walks up right beside him, puts one in his child's abuser's head, and then he ends up getting vindicated in court. If we can end up with a similar situation like this might actually put fear or some sort of discomfort into the hearts of these protesters who are just coming up with their terrible strategies, their unsympathetic causes, and their outright entitled actions. Like, nobody supports this stuff. Even if you think that climate change is the big problem, I guess you can if you want, but who's going to be on your side if you continue to do this? That's the question that's been asked, and that's the question that will continue to be asked, because I seem to recall when I was growing up and I was in school, I was in science class in middle school, there was a certain high-profile fearmonger that said right now we would all be underwater, that both coasts of the United States would be under feet of water, and Alberta and Colorado would both be oceanfront property, and that the ice cap Mount Kilimanjaro would never return. That was all supposed to happen in the mid-2000s, but that's what's fueling these guys' outrage right now. One of the most incoherent, incorrect pieces of propagandistic misinformation. That's all right, guys. They went to university and they're educated and they think that they know more than you. Therefore, they have the right to sit in the middle of the road until one old guy just had enough. Until one old guy took a stand when so many others simply stood by and did nothing. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.